All righty. Welcome, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. We are live on March 31st. Today's webinar is Building Brand Ambassadors, Enthusiasts, and Loyal Followers, presented by Russ Siegel. Russ Siegel holds an MBA from Western Carolina University, has owned multiple small businesses, and has been a small business consultant, advisor, and educator since 1998. My name is Alyssa Atkins, and I am the training and development coordinator for the Native Learning Center, and I will be your webinar facilitator today. Just a quick disclaimer, this webinar provides a summary of fundamental concepts, requirements, and/or procedures within the allotted 90 minutes. The material discussed does not illustrate all possible scenarios that could be applicable. Before we get started, I wanted to familiarize you with some of the features available and how the environment works. If you look at the top of your screen, you'll see an icon of either a person with their hand raised or just a hand. With that icon, you can either raise hand, agree, disagree, or step away. Now your screen should look similar to this graphic here. To the bottom left, you will see a box that says Files. Here you will find today's presentation. Please feel free to download a copy for yourself. Simply click the item you would like to download, then click the arrow pointing downwards, and you will be prompted to save or print the materials based on your device's permissions. The second box that states web links to houses today's survey, as well as any other links that are found throughout the presentation. Lastly, to the right of the screen, we have a chat box available. This is how you will communicate to the instructor and NLC staff. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to interact by using the chat box. Simply type your message and hit enter, or click that up arrow icon button to submit. We encourage class participation, so please feel free to write in those questions or comments. Tech support issues should also be submitted here. And it is what a great pleasure that I introduce Russ.
Thank you, and good afternoon for those of you where it is afternoon, and good morning to those who are still joining us before noon. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a wonderful Friday and looking forward to a great weekend. Today, we're going to be talking about building brand ambassadors, enthusiasts, and loyal followers. Just a little bit of housekeeping as we go through. You're going to get this slide at the beginning and also at the end. I want you to have my contact information. In case there's a concept or something that we talk about during our time today that we need to dig into a little bit more, part of the deal that I make with everyone I do presentations for is that you have access to me, and you can give me a call, send me an email, reach out to me on Twitter or LinkedIn, ask a question. We're going to make sure that you get what you came here for, and that you can put these tools that you're going to learn today into practice. As Jerry Reed sang in the theme song to one of the greatest American classic movies ever. That's right, Smokey and the Bandit. We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. And today, in the next hour and a half, we're going to cover why you don't want customers. Sounds counterintuitive, but those are not who you want. We're going to talk about sales funnel basics, the customer journey. And I'm going to give you a customer journey map that you can use to lead your customers from transaction to relationship to long-term relationship, where they're going to be able to help you grow your business in ways you never before imagined. We'll talk a little bit about creating wow experiences. We do give lip service a lot of times to customer service, but I'm not talking about customer service. I'm talking about knock your socks off service, and why you don't need to be worried about the next sale. And yes, this program is going to contain way too many sports, music, and movie references. So let's dive in. Long time ago, and you probably see the picture there, there's a little bit of gray in the beard. I had a college professor named Dwayne Daggett. Dwayne Daggett had at one time been the CEO of the Jolly Rancher Candy Corporation. And he always said that if you want to be happy and you never want to have a bad day, run a candy company. Nobody's ever mad at you, because when somebody's day is going wrong and things have gone off the rails, you just pull out lots of Jolly Ranchers from your pocket and say, here, let's make this a better day. He said no one was ever angry with him. But a lot of the concepts I learned back in the 80s are just as true today as they were back then. And this one stuck with me. Business is simple. Keep the customers you have and get more. And sometimes we get so bogged down in the minutia, in the day-to-day operation of getting our work done, that we forget just how simple business can be or should be. Everything else is in the details. But if we don't have customers, we don't have a business. And if we don't get more customers, we can't grow our business. So let's keep these two things in mind as we move forward with today. Another thing to keep in mind is that down in that left-hand corner of your screen, you have access to these slides. I understand that some folks are here during their lunch hour or maybe another break, and you're going to have to leave early. I get that. We're all busy, but I don't want you to miss out. So I've provided for you a downloadable PDF of every slide, and some of these are pretty content rich. You'll want to hang on to these for reference later. You're also going to get that customer journey map that I told you about. We're going to walk through that. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to give you some examples, and I'm going to walk through a very specific example of a very specific business that then you can turn around and apply to your own situation. So you want to download those two things. Make sure you hang on to those. So here's why you do not want customers. Customers are transactional. Customers buy things, yes, but that's all they do. And they may not buy from you next time. There's no brand loyalty anymore. You don't use the same detergent that your mother used, that your grandmother used because they used it. You use what's economical for you. You don't drive the same car that you may have grown up in a Chevrolet family or a Ford family or a Dodge family, and you're the first generation to drive a Nissan or Toyota. We're less brand loyal than ever because we have shiny object syndrome. If you watch an old episode of an old television show like Andy Griffith or something like that, you'll see that some of those scenes focus the camera on a particular actor or a particular situation for a long time, maybe up to 30 seconds. Next time you're watching television, when they change scenes or they focus in on an actor, start counting the number of seconds before the scene changes or the camera moves to another actor. It's probably no more than 4 or 5 seconds at the most. Television and social media have given us shiny object syndrome. We chase the things that keep our attention because our attention spans are indeed getting shorter. And they're fickle because we don't have a clear value proposition. We're going to talk about value propositions in a little bit, but I want to just say this right from the get-go, that no matter what you do, no matter where you are, no matter what you sell, we are all selling the same two things. And here they are. We're selling a solution to a problem and a good feeling. That's it. If you're selling drill bits, you're not selling drill bits. You're selling a hole because the customer needs a hole. Maybe they need to drill a hole to hang a shelf. Maybe they need to drill a bigger hole to install a doorknob. Maybe there's something that they need to do that only your drill bit can solve. Maybe they need to drill through steel or through masonry. Well, again, they're not buying your drill bit. They are buying the ultimate solution. And what makes them feel good is that when they can use that drill bit and get the job done, and it didn't wear out the drill bit didn't break. They didn't have to make another trip to Home Depot or Lowe's or the hardware store to do this again. They didn't waste their money. Even in the most boring, mundane products and services, we can still solve a problem and make people feel good. I want us to start thinking about what we sell in those two terms. We need to move away from talking about what we do in terms of the technical the specifications of what we do. The technical specs are easy. Sequoia Fund is in the money business. We're a native CDFI. We make loans. But no, that is not what we do. The business that we are in is helping people start the business of their dreams and be successful. We're about helping them fix up their homes and add value to those homes and make them more livable, more comfortable, happier places to be. We're in the business of helping them get a car that they desperately need to be able to get to work, to school, wherever they need to go. We are in the business of solving problems and creating good feelings, and you are too. You don't want customers because customers focus on price. Price is just one of the 5 or 6 different marketing ingredients. And especially when inflation starts to run wild like it is today, interest rates start to go up, more and more of us are driven by economic forces. We make decisions based on what is this going to cost us and how much can I keep in my pocket. Now, we're also today driven by commoditization, which means a can of corn is a can of corn is a can of corn. It doesn't matter what label is on it. If you go to one of these big gas tank farms in some cities where they store gasoline, kerosene, motor oil, things like that, you see a lot of trucks pull up and fill up so that they can go to the gas stations and provide them with some inventory. And if you see these big trucks that go through there, you'll see Exxon, you'll see Mobil, you'll see BP, you'll see Shell, all different brands, and even local brands and off brands and generic brands and just local regional distributors lined up at the same pumps. And you see commercials about these gasolines talking about how clean they are, how different they are. And yet when you go to these places, you see everybody filling up from the same pump. Gasoline is gasoline. So there's no reason to differentiate. And because more and more of us are not clear on the good feeling we create and the problem we solve, we're commoditized. And it leads to unclear value propositions. Starting to see a pattern? Well, you also don't want customers because, let's face it, customers are just not that into you. Customers are all listening to the same radio station, by the way, and that's WIIFM. What's in it for me? Customers place lower value on relationship. They're all about the transaction. Get in, pay for it, get out. Don't bug me, don't talk to me, don't interact with me. I just want to buy this toothpaste and go. In a lot of bigger stores, we see that the packaging itself is the sales tool. That's a transactional sales tool. Transactional sales means that if you want to buy this product, this shampoo or this toy, whatever it is, the package tells you everything you need to know about it. How safe it is, how to use it, what age range it's safe for, those kinds of things. Customers, that's all they care about. Does this meet my need? Let's go. I'm taking it. They believe they're not that into you because they believe that what you sell isn't enough. It's got to go beyond the thing. And that leads to unclear value proposition. In 2020, 76% of executives said that customer service experience is a high or critical priority, but only 29% of them were willing to do anything about it. Now, this just tells us that we have for so long given lip service to great customer service, great customer experience, turning customers into relationships. We've given lip service to that for so long that we're willing to say it's important, but it's not important enough for us to put money behind it or to put some real policies behind it to empower people to do anything about it. Quite the opposite. A lot of companies will hire people and say, you know what, I'm hiring you because you're smart. You're exactly the kind of person we need here. You can think on your feet and you're going to take care of our customers. But now that you're hired, I don't want you to think. I want you to follow policy. I want you to do it just this way. And we start to build this atmosphere of lowest common denominator. We need to be able to empower people to do the things that we're talking about today. When you have raving fans, however, people who are well beyond being customers, those people will come to see you in any weather or any stadium. This is actually a photo of me sitting in -4-degree weather at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, watching the AFC Championship game a few years ago with my nephew. He's the guy in green. He is a huge New England fan, and I didn't have a favorite in this. I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. When they came to Carolina, I threw my hat in with them, and I just decided I was going to, after being loyal for years to another team, I'm going to be a Carolina Panthers fan because that's where I live. And I never really even thought about wearing this blue Sequoia Fund coat to this sea of red Chiefs fans at Arrowhead. But everybody was cordial. Everybody was just there to have a good time, watch a good game, and we did get to see some great football. The Chiefs lost that night, but it was a great game. And I was willing to sit out and see that game because my nephew desperately wanted to do that. Fans will do that. We will sit out in the rain, the sleet, the hail, you name it. And we're going to pay whatever you charge. This is why people will say, "Oh, that Taylor Swift ticket is really, really expensive," or that NSYNC reunion tour ticket is really, really expensive. Or, I had an employee a few years ago who went to a New Kids on the Block reunion tour concert, and the tickets are expensive, but because they're raving fans, they'll pay whatever the price is to get there. Raving fans are looking for long-term relationships. Long-term relationships are, I can't think of any people more dedicated to a brand than Harley riders. People who love Harley Davidson, own Harley Davidson motorcycles, they'll wear the apparel. They will have the brand tattooed on their body. When people love you enough to tattoo your brand on their body, that's not a customer. That is a lifetime relationship. Those are people who will walk through fire for you. So what is your value proposition? A value proposition is just another term for unique selling proposition, or USP, a point of difference, or a durable competitive advantage. Now, this is the term that Warren Buffett uses. And if you've heard anything about Warren Buffett, he's done okay when it comes to investing. He's a pretty good investor. This is what he looks at when he invests in a company. What is their durable competitive advantage? All of these terms mean the same thing. They're used interchangeably. This is just what Warren Buffett calls it. He calls it the durable competitive advantage. And it simply means what sets this company apart from every other company in their field. What differentiates them? What makes them special? What's going to give them staying power when everybody else is getting bought up by bigger competitors, or that they're failing, they're going bankrupt, they're going out of business? What is that one thing that sets you apart? Could you name it? Can you write it down? Do your people know what your value proposition is? It's not your mission statement. It's that thing that makes you distinct. Tom Peters, a great author and business guru, once said, "You can either become distinct or you will become extinct." And again, this is why people, when they invest in a company, they want to look at what is that durable competitive advantage? What is that unique selling proposition? What is that thing that is going to help you survive anything that comes at you? That's what you have to define clearly. And here we go with more movie, song, and sports references. It's better to be Toto than Tommy Two-Tone. Interesting fact about Tommy Two-Tone, and if you don't remember Tommy Two-Tone, the band, not the person, Tommy Two-Tone wrote this little jingle called Jenny 8675309. Ring a bell? You've probably heard that one. There came a point when Tommy Two-Tone would walk on stage and they would begin to play one of their other songs, not Jenny. And the crowd went wild. wildly angry. Jenny was all they wanted to hear. So if they played Jenny first, when Jenny was over, everyone would leave. If they played Jenny last, they had things thrown at them until they played Jenny. Talk about a one-hit wonder. That's all anybody wanted. Now let's think about Toto. Toto was formed in the 70s from a group of studio musicians, just session guys who were fantastic musicians, songwriters. They got together and started playing some music. They met while they were playing in other bands, and they built this catalog of favorites. They built this catalog of songs that people want to hear even today. And yes, they're old. Their voices are shot. They're all fat like me. They don't get around on stage like they used to, but they can still play. And people will go to hear them play because they've built lifelong fans around this catalog of favorites. It's one of the reasons why if you go to see Billy Joel, you want to hear Piano Man, right? You don't want to hear him say, hey, this concert, I'm going to try something different. I've just written a dozen new songs. I'm just going to play those and leave. That's not why people are there. They want to be there to feel good. And that feel good is in the familiarity. You know exactly what you're going to get when you go to a Toto concert, when you go to a Billy Joel concert. That is a value proposition. I know that if I go to a Toto concert, I'm going to hear Africa. I'm going to hear Hold the Line. I'm going to hear all of those old favorites that I've been listening to since I was a kid. My cousin and his wife will follow the Avett Brothers to the moon. If they were to put on a concert on the moon, that's where they would go to listen to them. They will follow them anywhere because that's what fans do. A customer, well, I was a customer in 1992. In 1992, I came out of work one night and one of the guys who worked with me walked up to me in the parking lot with 2 tickets. And he said, look, I know you're off this weekend. If you've got some time, you might want to go hear this guy down in Charlotte. Might be a pretty good concert. And I'll just give these to you. I looked at the tickets and I handed them back and I said, I don't even know who Alan Jackson is. I have no interest in driving an hour and a half at that time to Charlotte to see this guy. I had no relationship with Alan Jackson. I didn't know his music. Today, I'd walk through hot coals to go see Alan Jackson. Big fan. But it was a different time. I was a different me. Think about the restaurants that you frequent. Think about your favorite restaurant. Your favorite restaurant is like Toto. Now, there might be a Tommy Two-Tone restaurant down the street that serves a great burger and you're going to go eat the burger, but you're not going to try anything else and you're not going to go out of your way to eat there. But when we talk about economics and making decisions based on economics, I know that if I have to pare down my dining out, I'm going to go to my favorite restaurant. That's where I'm going to be. You would too, because that's where you have a relationship. Let's say you go to that restaurant and one night they're just not on their game. Maybe the service is a little bit slow. Maybe the food isn't quite cooked exactly the way you expected. If you're eating at the Tommy Two-Tone restaurant, you're probably going to say, you know what, I'm never coming back here. It's a transaction. You don't have a relationship. However, if you're at your favorite restaurant, you're going to show a little grace. You're going to cut them some slack. You're going to give them another chance because you have a relationship. Now, if it happens too many times, you might start to question your decisions, but we tend to treat relationships differently than transactions. This is a traditional sales funnel. Sales funnels have been around forever, but this is what I would call the old model. It's still relevant, it's still important, but it doesn't get us all the way home. So let's talk about AIDA. Sometimes we call this AIDA. It's attention, interest, decision, or desire. Some people call this desire and action. And we go through this process whether we're buying a new appliance for our home, whether we're buying a new home, Or maybe we're standing in line at the grocery store and there's a candy bar that we say, you know what, I really enjoyed these when I was a kid. I'm going to buy one of these. In that split second, making that decision, you have completely gone through the ADA process. Being aware of something isn't enough. Being aware, making people aware of things sometimes is just irritating. This is what we would call a push model of marketing, where I'm standing out in the street just yelling at you to get you to come into my store. I'm making you aware, but it doesn't make you want to buy. Maybe my commercial is interrupting one of your favorite TV shows. Maybe my radio commercial is interrupting your favorite morning drive time DJ. There's an awareness there, but it doesn't really do anything. How many times have you watched a commercial on television and you laughed your head off? You thought, that is the funniest commercial I've ever seen. And by the end of the next commercial, you could not remember what the commercial was trying to sell you. That's awareness. You're aware of something, but that's about it. Interest is when we are aware and that awareness aligns with a need that we have, or a perceived need, or a perceived want that we have. We're thinking, you know what? Yeah, I haven't had that candy bar since I was a kid. Or that's a great looking new car. I think I might swing by the dealership. I'm looking for a new car. Maybe I'll swing by and take a look at that one. That's really interesting. Interesting. Interesting doesn't feed the bulldog. Interesting is just that. It's interesting. Okay, I'm going to go give it another look. I'm going to look this up online. I'm going to Google it. I'm going to think about that a little bit. But when we come to the decision part, that's where desire meets our ability to purchase. Okay. Yes, I've got $1 in my pocket. I can afford this. I'm gonna get that. I'm buying $100 worth of groceries. What's another candy bar or a pack of gum? Yeah, I need that. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. When we have desire, it doesn't necessarily get us there, because I can desire a lot of things that I don't have money for. So again, we need that extra step. We need a call to action. We need something that gets people to take action. And since I'm using the candy bar example, you may remember the Snickers candy bar commercials. You are not yourself when you're hungry. Now, we all knew about Snickers bars. Snickers bars have been out there for ages, and you may not have thought about a Snickers bar. But they did something very interesting with these commercials, and they were funny, great scenarios. They had a lot of big name actors in these commercials. They had Betty White. They had others that everybody recognized, and they started to associate these well-known actors with the Snickers brand. But here's what they did that's really special. They positioned Snickers not as a candy bar, but as a meal replacement. You're not yourself when you're hungry. You're not yourself when you're hungry. Oh, if I'm not myself when I'm hungry, I should go ahead and get this. So now, instead of seeing a Snickers bar thinking, wow, I really need some peanuts and some caramel and some nougat and some chocolate. No, not that we ever thought that anyway, but now we're thinking, I'm hungry. I could be a bear when I'm hungry. Maybe I should eat something before I get nasty. They completely changed the way we think about a candy bar, about their candy bar. They walked us through this sales funnel. They got everybody aware of Snickers bars again. This old favorite is still out there. Now I'm interested because they've got a lot of big name actors, and these are funny commercials. I love it. I can't wait for another Snickers commercial to come on. What will they think of next? And then the desire is there that I see the candy bar. You know, I kind of am hungry. They've convinced me that I don't need to actually eat lunch if I could just have one of these king size Snickers bars. That would be the same, right? Right. So I'm going to go ahead and buy it. That's a basic sales funnel. We should be walking people through that sales funnel. Let's take them into the top. Not everybody that is aware is going to take action. And that's why it's called a funnel and not a pipe. Pipes are the same size from one end to the other. Funnels are not. And that's okay. Even though they're aware today and they decide not to buy today, they may decide to buy in the future. So people might swirl around in the top part of that funnel for a while before ever taking action. And some people will say, you know what? I've decided I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to go on a diet. I'm just not going to have that Snickers bar. Okay, that's a decision. And they've exited the funnel. That's okay. Everybody is not our customer. If we try to be everything to everybody, we pretty quickly become nothing to nobody. So let's be really cognizant of the fact that we're just not going to satisfy everyone. And let's be okay with that. There's a new type of sales funnel. And this new type of sales funnel works really well in the digital world because the digital world gives us some options that the physical world does not. You know, in the digital world, if somebody is on your website and they're clicking through, there might be steps they need to take to get from where they are to where they want to be. And we can walk them through like we're walking them through a maze. We're directing them where they should go. If they're in a physical store, they may see something interesting and look at their watch and say, you know what, I really have to be going, and head the other direction. Online, it's a little bit different, but I'm going to promise you that the funnel that I give you next works in the physical world, in the analog world, just as well as it works in the digital world. Before I show that funnel to you, I want you to think about something. I want you to think about the last time you flew. Now, if you didn't fly recently or if you don't remember it, I want you to think about the last trip to a drugstore, maybe a CVS or a Walgreens or some drugstore where you had to pick up a few things, not just go back to the pharmacy and pick up your prescription, but there were a few things you needed while you were there. Maybe some cosmetics, maybe some shampoo, maybe a greeting card, some snack foods, etc. Let's talk first about the airport. Let's say you walk into an airport, and admittedly, airports are built for planes, not for people. I don't know that I've ever been comfortable in an airport. But airports are built to move people from the front door, from the time they get out of their car to the time they get onto the airplane. They're built to funnel us into the right direction. And they do that with wayfinding signs. If you walked into an airport and you saw all of this activity, all of these people, everything, and you knew that you look at your ticket and you knew that you're supposed to be at gate C5 in 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, wherever, yeah, you're supposed to be at the airport 2 hours early. I fly from a small airport, so I don't have that same struggle. But you're supposed to be there 2 hours early. Now you got 2 hours to get to gate C5, but there's nothing in the airport that tells you where gate C5 is. There's nothing that tells you where the C concourse is. You don't even know where security is unless you look around and you find people standing, grousing about having to be in the security line. Let's say you start walking and you realize you're headed in the wrong direction. Now time's getting tight. You're supposed to be at gate C5, but you can't be at gate C5 because you're down on the A concourse. You've got to take a train to get where you need to be. That would be frustrating, right? It would be maddening. We would be so angry. We would be so frustrated. And yet, airports have figured it out. Most small businesses have not. Most people who walk into our businesses, either virtually or in real life, are just as frustrated as we would be if we walked into an airport with no signage, no directions, nothing to point us where we need to be. We're not using a funnel. We're not helping people walk through this journey from awareness to action to relationship. So what does this look like? Well, Sales Funnel 2.0 does have some of the same things. You'll notice awareness. We have to, if we're never aware of anything, we can't take action. There's no way to skip the awareness step. But from awareness, we go to engagement. Engagement at the airport might be, can I see your ticket? Where do you need to go? This happens in the theater. This happens in sports stadiums. This happens in places where you have a ticket. You know you're supposed to be in this big sea of people. You have a particular seat, and somebody in a nice red vest or something like that, and you know they work there, they're going to come up, they're going to look at your ticket, and they're going to point you in the right direction. They're engaging you. A subscriber. Now, this is something that we don't think about in the real world, but this can be in the in-person world just the same as we can be in a digital world. And I'm going to talk about what a subscriber is. We're going to talk about conversion. Well, what is conversion? Conversion is that process where we walk into the store and we make a decision to walk out with a purchase. If we walk out without a purchase, we have not been converted. So now let's talk about that drugstore experience. You walk into the drugstore, you know that you need 4 items. They're in 4 different places in the store. You have absolutely no idea where anything is. But someone greets you from behind the counter. They say, "Welcome to XYZ drugstore today. Let me know if you need anything." That's engagement. Subscriber might be that at the end of that transaction, they say, "Do you have a loyalty card? Well, we can save you money if you have one of the loyalty cards. And if you go ahead and buy this today, you get a 10% off coupon for this makeup or for this greeting card or for this prescription," whatever it is. They're going to capture some information about you. We don't think about subscribers in terms of the loyalty cards that we have at casinos and grocery stores, but that's exactly what we're doing. We're subscribing people to us. Conversion just means that when they finish that transaction, they're going to walk out with a purchase, but they're excited about it. We're going to build excitement. Then there are a couple of other stages here that we're going to walk people through called ascension, advocacy, and promoter. And the promoter stage is what's going to take those people and throw them back up into the top of that funnel, and we're going to do it all again. So what does this look like? I'm going to give you, again, this customer journey map. If you will click on item number 2 down here in the files, you can download this, and it's going to give you exactly what we're going to walk through today. And you can use this in your own business or organization to take people through this journey. But let's dig into it step by step. Let's talk about awareness. Awareness is simply how do people become aware that you exist? How do they know about you? And a lot of these things that I'm going to talk to you about, these are pretty old school. These don't have to be new, flashy, sexy, digital things. It can be referrals. It can be Facebook posts, Instagram pictures, stories, flyers, and coupons. These are things that build awareness. As we start this journey, I want to talk to you about Maggie. Maggie is the example that we're going to use over the next couple of slides. Maggie is a local dog groomer, and she started a business called Cocker-Poodle-Doo. She does a lot of work for dogs in this town of 10,000 people. She was a popular groomer with another shop in town, and she decided to strike out on her own because she believed she could offer better service and friendlier atmosphere than the person she was working for. She also thought that her popularity would bring her a flood of customers. So a few weeks after opening, she starts to wonder where all the customers are. She believed that word would get out about her great service and that word of mouth would build her business. So let me just stop right here and say something about word of mouth. Word of mouth is great. Word of mouth, if it's good, you can't afford it. But how do you know what kind of word of mouth you're getting? If you're getting good word of mouth, you can't really capitalize on it because you're just hoping somebody says something nice about you. And if they say something negative about you, there's nothing you can do about it because the person they tell something to is just not going to darken your door at all. You'll never know that they never bought from you because of bad word of mouth. It's part of that, you can't prove a negative thing. They're aware of your business, but they're aware of it in a negative way just because of what someone said. So this process is all about taking control of that customer journey, not relying on someone somewhere to say something nice about you. So Maggie decided to go to Instagram. That was her platform of choice. She started putting up pictures and stories of happy dogs. From there, she used an app where she could post before and after photos side by side. She started telling stories about these dogs and their owners and how happy everybody was and how really great these dogs looked once she'd finished and how happy the dogs were to see her. For some reason, they were happier to see Maggie at her dog grooming business than they were to go to the vet. Imagine that. She started making flyers with coupons and putting those out at the local pet stores, animal shelters, and veterinarian offices. She went to where her customers congregated. She went to where her customers would be. She knew the manager at the local chain grocery store. Chain grocery stores are very buttoned down, very policy driven, but she had gone to school with the manager of this chain grocery store. And she said, "Would you mind slipping this flyer into someone's bag if you see that they buy pet food or dog food, any kind of dog toys or dog treats, anything like that?" And he said, "Sure." And she gave him a couple hundred of those. So it was not a long-term commitment. And he was happy to have the cashiers drop those flyers into the bags. Very old school. Again, this is just old school marketing, right? To build awareness. But from awareness, we move to engagement. How do we get people to wave back? If we're waving at people, we're standing out on the street and we're waving at them as they drive by, how do we get them to wave back? How do we get them to do something? How do we get them to click something, to go somewhere, to respond to something? Well, Maggie started a Facebook Pet of the Week contest, and she got people to vote on their favorite picture. And the dog with the most votes won a free grooming session. People shared these posts with all their friends and they started to drum up votes for their pets. They wanted their pet to win. They wanted their Shih Tzu to win or their poodle or their Cocker Spaniel. The name of the place is Cocker Poodle Doo, right? They wanted their pet to win. So they started to create awareness with their friends. And each post, to be qualified to win, had to mention Cocker Poodle Doo. So that engagement alone started to build her online presence. When it comes to things like Facebook, again, we're hoping for the best. We're going to put out a post, we're going to put something up on Instagram, we're going to tweet something, and we're going to hope that it gets some traction. The statistics on how many people will see your post when you just post something organically is abysmally small. The percentage is almost criminally small. We're talking 3 to 7% of the people who like you might see what you post. If you post on a regular basis and if you post on a frequent basis, you might be able to get that up to about 17 to 20%. But look, these social media platforms are in business to make money. They want you to pay for engagement. They want you to pay them so more people will see you. It's almost like mafia protection money. We would hate to see you post all of this stuff, and we would hate to see that your time is being wasted on social media. So if you pay us, we'll make sure that other people see you. That's my best Godfather voice. I'm sorry. That's all I got today. But that's the truth. We can't just post things and hope people see them. We have to do something that makes other people interested enough to share. That's engagement. From there, she started looking for subscribers. And subscribers are, the answers the question, how do we get people to sign up? Why should people listen to us? Why would people want to engage with us not once, but over a long period of time? When we subscribe to a magazine or to a newsletter or to an online news service or even an online newspaper, what are we signing up for? We're signing up for reliable delivery of something we're interested in. That's all. Reliable delivery of something we are interested in. If you've ever signed up for something just to get the discount, or if you've signed up for something just so you can read this one article, you know that they're going to keep sending you emails. They're going to keep sending you communications. They're going to reach out to you on social media. And eventually Google is going to hear you say something about it. And all of a sudden your Google News feed is full of this stuff because they're listening. Okay, but then you're probably quickly going to either start just deleting those emails as they come in, or you're going to unsubscribe. By the way, the federal government is looking at a bill that would make marketers, that would make small businesses put an instant unsubscribe button in their emails so that people can get out of that. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the newsletter like the one that I get every month. It's not a big newsletter. It probably only has 6 or 7 stories in it. It comes around the first of the month, and I can't wait to get it. It's a travel newsletter. As my wife and I get older, the kids are out of the house, and we're thinking about how to spend our free time and travel and do things. I love this newsletter. There are things that we see in our email that are aimed at us, targeted toward us. They name us, they talk to us. Excuse me. And we love that attention. We love that personalization. And we will remain a subscriber to some of those things versus dear customer emails, which we will quickly unsubscribe from. Well, how did Maggie do this? Maggie started offering do-it-yourself classes for owners of particularly hairy breeds so that they could keep the hair around their eyes cut back between sessions. She did this as a live class or classes, and she also added a webinar, which was kind of cool. The classes were free, and she collected email addresses from every participant. That's the key. She was getting email addresses from every participant. Seth Godin, Godin. If you ever have an opportunity to read anything by Seth Godin, grab it. His books are short, they're easy to read, and they're packed with fantastic information on marketing. Seth Godin calls this permission marketing. I can throw an ad in your face and I can aggravate you all day long and twist your arm until you finally buy, and then you're going to resent me. You're going to hate me for it. But if you like me enough to give me your email address, we can start a conversation. You are now giving me permission to talk to you. And that's powerful. Now, some people might question her offering a free class. Why would you want to train your customers to not need you? Well, she wasn't doing that at all. Her customers still needed her. If you have a particularly hairy breed, our accountant at Sequoia Fund has a golden doodle. It's a mix between a golden retriever and a poodle. And this golden doodle's hair grows at an alarmingly fast rate. So she would be ideal as a candidate for one of these little DIY courses to sit and learn how to trim the hair away from Jack's eyes so that Jack can see between sessions. Doesn't need a full haircut, and she would never want to do that. Jack is a big dog, but she does like being able to do this in a way that makes him feel better, look better. And just because we train people to do what we do does not mean that we're replacing ourselves. If you've ever tried to replace a faucet or even fix a faucet, maybe fix a part in a faucet, there's some of the kitchen faucets these days, you have to be an MIT trained engineer just to fix it. So you'll watch this on YouTube and you go, wow, yeah, okay, I really do have to hire a professional to do this. That's the kind of training Maggie was doing. She wanted people to see that they could do it. But also, here's why I need Maggie to do this. So those people became subscribers. Well, now it's time to convert. It's time to move them to the fourth step of this funnel. Conversion moves subscribers into what's called a micro commitment. We want them to invest time and or money. We want them to invest something with us. That's the beginning of a relationship. So How did Maggie do this? After every grooming session, she emailed a brief 3-question survey to the customers, not to the dog, but the humans. And the emails also included an offer for a downloadable guide to nutrition tips for a shiny, healthy coat. Wow. Okay. Now she's giving me something that has real value. My other groomer never did that. My other groomer might have done a really good haircut, but never provided stuff like this. So customers could download that guide immediately for only $3.99. If I've just had a great experience at Cocker-Poodle-Doo and my dog loves Maggie and she's given me a survey and I'm happy and I'm saying yes, extremely satisfied, extremely satisfied, extremely satisfied. Oh, she wants me to spend $4 more to buy this guide that's going to help my dog look better, feel better, be healthier. Yeah, I'll spend $4 on that. That's a conversion. Now, yes, they're already a customer, but we're not looking for a customer. Remember, when they came in to bring their dog in to have the dog groomed, that's a transaction. They became a customer. We've got to go way beyond that. Now that we've converted them, we've got to build some excitement. Okay, I just spent $4 on this book. Why am I excited? Well, as soon as that customer clicks the button to purchase a $3.99 guide, this is called a tripwire, by the way. Let me go to this next slide. The excitement stage is the aha stage. It's where wonder meets understanding. And in marketing, we call this a tripwire. It's like when you stumble onto something so cool, you just go, "Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. That's awesome." As soon as they clicked on that $3.99 guide and purchased it, they had just tripwired the next step. They were amazed to find that the guide was customized for their breed. So Jack, being a golden doodle, that guide was only for golden doodles. One of the survey questions that Maggie included was the fourth question. Yeah, she gave them 3 questions about your satisfaction, but the fourth question was a drop-down menu where the respondents identified their breed. Well, she had several of these. She knew exactly how many breeds she had as customers. She knew what those needs were, and she just went in and tweaked that guide. She created a PDF, and she saved it as a Google Doc. So she created one guide, and then she went in and made all these edits in Google Docs and just changed the breed, tweaked it a little bit, put those links in. I think she was using a program called Easy Downloads, but she put these in there. And Easy Downloads, I think this program cost her $30 a year, something like $35 a year. But when she was able to do that, that link that they got when they clicked on that link was specific to that breed, and it customized it, made it look like Maggie had done this just for them. Now, if you love your dog, wouldn't you love that? Wouldn't you love that type of attention to detail? That is the aha stage. That is where wonder meets understanding. I think we could all get excited about that. Well, it's time to go through something that we call the ascension stage. We're going to elevate customers from this little $3.99 book and that one grooming that they had. We're going to move them to higher ticket, higher commitment offers. Well, how did Maggie do that? People really liked how she customized her communications for their particular breed. Schnauzer owners received different instructions from Corgi owners. So Maggie then invited the happy owners to consider joining her club called A Cut Above. Wow, that said 2 things, okay? A Cut Above says that this is a dog grooming loyalty club, and a cut above, well, that spoke to how much more you get with Maggie than you get with anybody else. You're going to get a cut above. And she offered a few different levels here. She offered a silver level that covered regularly scheduled cuts and provided a hedge against future price increases. If you join a cut above and you lock in these prices, this is going to ensure that even as inflation causes prices everywhere else to go up, your prices are going to be locked in for a particular number of cuts. Maybe it's a year, maybe it's 18 months, maybe it's based on how fast your breed's hair grows. Maybe it's a seasonal thing. However, Maggie did this. She created a way for people to say, okay, that silver level, that looks great. That's something I could get interested in. But the next level was the gold level, and it covered all cuts, baths, mani-pedis, everything that you could do to make your dog look and feel great. And it was at a different price point. You're going to subscribe. You're going to purchase this package. It's a little bit more expensive than the gold, than the silver. But wait, there's more. She offered a platinum level package. It was the most expensive level, and it offered everything that people got in both the silver and the gold. Plus, she offered free concierge pickup and drop off in her Fido limo. That's right. If you take your dog to work, she will stop by and pick up the dog. She'll pick up the dog at your home. She'll take your dog to be pampered and deliver your dog back. Yes, it did cost her some more money for insurance to do this. She had to buy something called OPP, other people's property insurance, because even though those dogs are our family members, for insurance purposes, they're still considered property. So let me just answer this quick question in here. And I put the proper spelling of Seth Godin's name in there, Godin. Thank you for asking that. Again, anything you can get your hands on by Seth Godin, just do it. Do it. You can read 3 books in a weekend and or more, and it's good stuff. So Maggie decided to take people up this ladder. And let's say that you wanted the platinum package. Oh, the platinum package. I love that. My dog would love the platinum package. I love the platinum package. I would love for her to be able to come and pick, but I can only afford the gold package. Well, here's the important lesson Maggie learned. And I want all small business owners to learn this. This is a constant battle that we have that we fight with our clients, not against our clients, but we fight with them side by side, whether they are artists and artists are, I'm sorry, the world's worst at valuing themselves. They're way more valuable than they give themselves credit for. And what we have to teach people in this battle is never lower price unless you also lower value. Because if you just willy-nilly lower your price, what you're telling people is that my services aren't really that valuable. They're not that good. If I'm lowering my price, maybe I should have just given you the price that you wanted to begin with, and I was trying to cheat you. No. If you can't afford the platinum package, but you can only afford the gold package, gold it is. And that's the hard line that Maggie has had to learn to draw, is that I can't lower my price. If you can't afford gold, then I have silver. If you can't afford silver, you can still bring your dog in for grooming, for whatever pampering you want to do, but you'll do that on an as needed basis. You'll pay whatever price there is at the time. If I have to raise prices 10% next month because the cost of shampoo is going up, maybe the city is raising the sewer bill, just all kinds of things. Okay, maybe I want to lock that price in, and that thought makes silver worth it for me. So we're going to ascend people. We're going to take them up this ladder, and we're going to help them start to pay us more money over a longer period of time. Again, we're building that relationship. Here's another beautiful thing about the ascension part of this funnel is that now Maggie's not waiting for people to come by and make an appointment and bring her cash. She's making money. This is a monthly subscription price where they're paying a flat rate. Now, my parents are in their late 70s, early 80s. Dad's 80 now. Mom's in her late 70s. They have to have someone mow their grass. Well, the fellow who mows their grass charges them a flat rate every month, whether their grass grows really, really fast or if they have drought conditions and the whole yard dies. It doesn't matter. But they love knowing exactly what that monthly rate is going to be for having their grass mowed. Now, he also has a platinum package. And he tells my dad, Harold, for this extra fee, if you pay this package, you get this extra package. I will also uh, clean your gutters. I'll make sure that your drains are cleaned out and your gutters are cleaned out. Oh, and we've got one more package. Once a year, I'll come through and I will pressure wash your sidewalks, your driveway. Well, hey, you don't know that you need your driveway pressure washed until your neighbor pressure washes the driveway. You realize how gruesome your driveway looks. So again, we can use these Ascension packages in almost anything. It doesn't have to be in the digital world. But here's where it gets really crazy, because a customer would never go to this next level. Only raving fans go to this next level, and that's advocacy. I'm a firm believer that happy people don't leave happy places. Happy people don't leave happy places. If we're happy, we're going to stay right there. And if I'm happy with Maggie, I'm never looking for another dog groomer. And I hope that she has other people who come on board and she can train them and they'll treat me just as well as Maggie does, so that when Maggie has to go on vacation, I'm still going to get great treatment. But Maggie started to have conversations with her happiest customers. It's funny, we're afraid to talk to customers. We're afraid of what we might find out. But our best customers are also our best source of information. Your best new customer is an old customer. And she started talking to her happiest customers and asked them if she could use photos of their dogs in her ads, in the visuals that she used, in her flyers, in her social media posts, in her Facebook ads, ads in the local newspaper. She didn't want to use stock photos. You can go to Canva and you can go to uh, uh, oh gosh, I'm getting ready to get ahead of myself. There are a lot of, you just Google free stock photography. There's all kinds of pictures of dogs out there. She didn't want to steal somebody's picture off the web. She didn't want to just go to Google and do that. She wanted to use authentic customers' images. Take a picture of your happy dog. And I'm going to tell you, when our accountant takes Jack to be groomed, we get a whole slew of before and after photos, and Jack just looks so happy. If she's sharing those with us, she's sharing those with everybody else too. So Maggie wanted to make sure the owners got copies of everything so they could show their friends how famous their dogs had become. Oh, now we're really getting into it. Now we're really elevating things, because it's not about the human. We're elevating the dog. We're making the dog the celebrity. The dog is the focus, which it always is in the pet business, and it should be. We distinguish sometimes between the customer and the buyer. If I own a toy store, the customer might be the kid, but the buyer is the parent or the grandparent or whoever it is that, the favorite aunt who comes in and brings the money. Kids don't drive there themselves and they don't travel alone. So whoever that buyer is, the buyer is the person who either writes the check or authorizes the check. And yes, we want to keep the buyer happy. But that just tells us that we need a relationship with both of those people. If they're not the same person, we need a relationship with both of them to keep them both happy. Well, when you can keep the owner happy because you're making the dog famous, that's a diamond mine right there. So we go from advocacy then to the last step before we drop them back in the top of the funnel, and that is promoter. When customers are successful, they tell others. Now, notice that I didn't say when customers are happy, they tell others. There used to be an old saying in marketing that if a customer is happy, they'll tell 10 people. If a customer's unhappy, they'll tell 20. That is so outdated. If a customer is happy, they probably won't tell anyone unless they're asked directly. If they're unhappy, they will make it their life's mission to destroy you and your business. They will say bad things about you on Yelp, on Facebook, on Instagram. They will go to Better Business Bureau. They'll go to TripAdvisor, wherever they can find to say negative things about you. They're going to make sure the world knows how unhappy they are. We don't operate in the same field as we used to before. We can't count on, oh, maybe they'll tell 20 people. No, they'll tell 200,000. They'll tell 2 million. They'll tell everybody. And there is no law that will keep them from doing that. If it is talking about their personal experience, and if they were unhappy, they're not slandering you. They're not libeling you. They're telling about their story. And if it's a personal experience, that personal experience is their defense. You can't stop it. Thank you, First Amendment. However, if we just avoid that altogether and we make people so happy that they want to be evangelists for our business, that they want to preach from the rooftops how good we are, and they want to tell their friends and talk about nothing other than how happy they are with us. And when people see that dog, and then when people pet Jack and they go, wow, Jack's a good looking boy, they can say, Maggie did that. Maggie's the one who you should take your dog to Maggie because Maggie's great. All right. When our customers are successful, they tell others. And what made them successful? They become successful when Jack is famous, when people start to look at Jack and say, what a good looking fellow Jack is. That's success. Success is as much a feeling as it is anything else. And for them, that tells that little inner person inside their head that, hey, this is money well spent. This person made Jack look good. This is making you look good. You're going to keep going back to Maggie. People are going to keep talking about how good Jack looks. This is a successful venture. It's a successful relationship. The families of the now famous doggy models actually became brand ambassadors. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about brand ambassadors. And those brand ambassadors, when people got to that level and Maggie started to identify those customers who were now her promoters, well, they qualified for something she called her diamond level membership at no extra charge, by the way. She had 3 different levels of monthly subscription payment for her gold, her silver, gold, and platinum level. But when these famous dogs and their owners reached promoter level, and she started noticing that they were just in an unsolicited way mentioning her in their social posts, mentioning her in their Instagram stories, talking about her to other people, and people would come in and say, Margaret told me about how good you made her dog look. I want you to do the same thing for my dog. Now she knows that Margaret is a promoter. Margaret then gets elevated to the diamond level membership. There's no extra charge. And in exchange for handing out referral cards, all the diamond level dogs who bring in 5 new customers a year get a special annual party complete with a professional photographer. You see, if we take care of our customers, they'll take care of us. If we take care of those relationships, if we nurture those relationships, if we decide that we don't want customers and we want raving fans, and when we build this cadre of raving fans, they can do amazing things for us that we could never do for ourselves. Because when we talk about our own business, it's very self-serving. But when other people are saying good things about our business, and we have some control over that because we've got this very small group that came out of the end of that funnel and they're saying great things about us, we can't afford that kind of publicity. That's fantastic. Along the way, in order to keep people in the funnel, in order to help them progress through that funnel, we've got to stop thinking about customer satisfaction, customer service, and we've got to start getting into the mindset of creating wow experiences. Wow experiences is made up of 6 things. They're simple, but they're not easy. I'm going to walk you through these 6 things so that you can start to implement these in your business. Now, maybe you don't implement them right away, but let's be aware of them. Let's be aware of what these mean and how we can make them happen. You know, if I own a restaurant and I notice that the servers keep walking by tables with empty water glasses, empty drink glasses, and they just keep walking by, and people say, well, that's not my table. That's not my table. That's not my table. No, but this is your restaurant. This is our restaurant. This is their restaurant. We can start to build some of these elements into our everyday operations and create wow experiences. One of the things that we at Sequoia Fund want to do, we're located in a tribal building with probably 8 other different tribal programs, and we're not the easiest place to find. People have to walk through a maze to get back to us. So they're already not really happy if they've never been to our office before and they've wandered around the building, they've wandered in the wilderness for a long time, and they finally find us. They might not be at their best. But one of the things that we want to do at Sequoia Fund is we want to set the standard for customer experience in Cherokee, North Carolina. When people go to the hospital, when people go to the diabetes clinic, when people go to the gym, when people go to the school, when people go to the language academy, when people go to any other department, the tribal finance office, when they walk into anywhere, we want them to compare the experience they have there to the experience they have with Sequoia Fund. We want to set the bar. We want to be the standard bearer for great customer experience. We don't point people to the bathroom. We do what Disney does. We will walk them to the bathroom. If you've ever been to a Disney park and you've asked where the nearest restroom is, they don't point you. They'll stop what they're doing and they will take you to the nearest restroom. It's a different level of service. So here they are. Number 1 is anticipation. We have to know our customers and what they need and what they want in advance of their asking. Baseball Hall of Famer Yogi Berra, who was always quick with a joke or a quip or a word of wisdom, which have become known as yogi-isms, he said, you can learn a lot by looking around, or you can see a lot by looking around. You can see a lot by looking around. And what gets me is a lot of small businesses and organizations don't bother to look. They don't bother to see that every time a customer walks through the door, they have to take both hands because the door sticks and they have to pull so hard that they can't get the door open. You know, if somebody's pulling that door and they can't get it open, we want to fix that door because the next person may not be walking up to it. They may be in a wheelchair or they may have a walker. We want to start anticipating what customers need and want in advance of their asking. Think about the last time you were served in that way. Think about the last time someone anticipated your needs. Wasn't that really cool? Our location. Now, again, there may not be anything we can do about our location. There's certainly not anything we can do about our location. Our relationship with the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians dictates that they're going to put a roof over our heads, and that's going to be wherever they choose. Now, they let us run our own CDFI, but they do provide a roof over our heads. We can't do anything about that. But even if you can't do anything about that, we need to be easy to find. So a couple of years ago, right before COVID, Sequoia Fund actually wrote a grant, received a grant, and we spent the money to put wayfinding signs in the building. Yes, it was very self-serving. We wanted all the signs to point to Sequoia Fund, but we also knew that we needed to be mindful of the tribal legal department, the education department, the tarot office, and things like that. So we wanted to make sure people could find their way around anywhere. The one thing we didn't put a sign up for was the library, because the library is staring you in the face when you walk through the front door. But we took care of all the other departments too. We wanted to be easy to find. Again, we didn't want people walking into the airport and not knowing how to get to their gate. Where are they looking for solutions to their problem? Now, location can be physical location, but location can also be wherever your customers expect you to be. If they expect to see information about you in the local paper, You need to be in the local paper. If they expect to see information about you on a billboard, you should be on a billboard. Now, if I have a local plumbing company, I may not be spending a lot of money on billboards, because if someone has a burst pipe at 3 o'clock in the morning, are they going to put their shoes on and drive out in their pajamas 6 miles out of town to get my number off the billboard? Probably not. However, if I have a fast food restaurant at the top of an interstate off ramp, you better believe I'm going to invest in some billboards for miles up and down the road. If you're in Texas, if you're all the way up through now, I think Tennessee, we've got some Buc-ee's. If you've never been to a Buc-ee's, I highly recommend you take a road trip, stop at a Buc-ee's. You'll start to see Buc-ee's billboards about 90 miles away from the next Buc-ee's. And Buc-ee's are a great experience, by the way. It's a fantastic experience. If you've ever been to a Buc-ee's, you know that Buc-ee's is one of those things where if you need to stop to go to the restroom, you'll see a Buc-ee's sign and say, yep, I think I can hold it. I think I can make it to the next Buc-ee's, because it's that cool. Be where your customers expect to find you. The next thing is communication. Again, it's one of those things that we give lip service to. We talk about communication, but in truth, we are not that easy to communicate with. We need to be easy to reach. We need to be accessible by phone, email, text, Facebook, Messenger, Twitter, you name it. Don't believe me? Next time your flight is delayed, don't stand in line with everyone else waiting for rebooking. Go to the airline's Twitter account and tweet them. You will get a faster response, because they have buildings full of people doing nothing but monitoring Twitter. And people who are on Twitter get faster service. We had to come to terms at Sequoia Fund with the notion that people really wanted to communicate with us through Facebook Messenger. It was not something we were comfortable with, but our customers said that's what they wanted. So we found a way to get comfortable with that. And now we monitor that. We monitor that feed. We want to make sure that people can get to us whenever and however they want to reach us. We have multiple touch points where people can access us. Yes, we still have people who want to walk in the door and pay their bill. That is a touch point for them. A lot of those people want to do it so that they can walk into Melanie's office, our accountant, and sit down and talk about their dog, their cat, listen to stories about her dog, her cat. She knows, she may not remember your name, but she will remember your pets. She'll remember your pets' birthdays, their allergies, everything. So that personal touch point right there is important to a lot of people. They don't want to mail in a payment. They want a relationship with our accountant. They want to bring her the payment. There are three things that go together. These are what I would call the three legs on the wow experience stool. These are things that every business, every organization needs, but a lot of times we just fall short because we either give lip service to them or we don't think about them. And it's quality, consistency, and capacity. Quality. What we do has to work. It has to be good. That's the price of admission. If you're going to be in business, if you're going to have an organization that produces goods or services for people, you have to be good at what you do. You can't fake it till you make it. And not only do you have to be good, you have to be good every time. This is consistency. This is why chain restaurants like Cracker Barrel, McDonald's, they do well, not because they're the best food in the world. And let's face it, McDonald's is not food, it's fuel. Sometimes you just need fuel, but you also need to know that the Big Mac you order in Bend, Oregon is going to taste the same as the one in Boca Raton, Florida, or Birmingham, Alabama. That consistency is why people go back time and time again. It may not be the best, but it's good, and it's good enough, and it's consistent. It's there every single time. They don't want to hire you so that you can come up with a new way of making the Big Mac. They just want you to follow the recipe. But finally, and this is the giant killer right here. This is what puts lesser businesses out of business. If you have capacity, then you are a giant killer. Your product, your service, your solution has to be available when people want or need you. If you are in Florida and you're a tree service and a hurricane comes through, if you're a roofing company and a hurricane or a tropical storm comes through, you have to at least have the capacity to answer the phone, to schedule work. Because sometimes that's all people want. They don't want you to show up the next day. They know that everybody's busy, that there's a lot to clean up, there's a lot to do. But even here in Western North Carolina, where I live, when Hurricane Ivan came through back in, I want to say 2007, it took 2 weeks just to get a roofing company on the phone. Capacity just means that we are available and responsive. And if you're available and responsive to your customers, they're no longer customers. They're going to build a relationship because they can't even get anybody else on the phone. Nobody else will return an email. We have a rule at Sequoia Fund that all phone calls have to be returned by the end of the business day. And emails have to be returned within 24 hours. Again, we want to show that we have capacity, that we're not lazy. We're not just lying around waiting for people. Oh, if they really want us, they'll call us back 13 more times. No. So I've put a quote by Billy Joel on here. Billy Joel has quality, consistency, and capacity. He embodies all of these things as a musician, and he underrates himself. He's actually pretty humble when he talks about this. He says, people like me because I write pretty good songs and I can entertain an audience from the stage. Again, they're not going to hear his brand new album of classical music that he's just, classical style music that he's written on the piano for piano solo. They want to hear all the classics that Billy Joel is famous for. He has quality. He still can sing. He still can play. Yes, he entertains people pretty well from the stage. He's not put out an album since the early 90s. And he's consistently good. He's as good in a stadium as he is in a small arena, as he would be on the stage of a university with music students in the audience. And he has capacity. If you want to see Billy Joel, for years, he has had a running date at the Madison Garden in New York City. I think once a month. He's still playing. He's still getting it done. He's still got that capacity. And you can always buy a Billy Joel album or download it or just tell your Alexa device to play some Billy Joel. But we have to have all three legs on the stool to give people wow experiences. And here's where people start to question my sanity. We don't need to think about the sale. When we think about the sale, yes, we may make a sale, but we will lose a long-term relationship. If we think about the long-term relationship and we focus on that, we'll build sales. There are customers I've had in not just in Sequoia Fund, but in other jobs that I've had over the years, and they've come to us asking for something that we just can't provide. I see it as my job to know where to send them. If I don't have what they're looking for, if I can't satisfy the need or want, where can I send them? I don't make the sale, but I want to make a friend because that friend is going to come back. When that friend knows that there's something I can do for them, they'll come back. So let's start building relationships that lead to the 4th sale, the 14th sale, the 40th sale. How do we do that? Well, as we wrap up here, I'm going to leave you with an acronym. It's called FOCUS. Follow one course until success. If we get so bogged down into the day-to-day minutia of the business that we fail to see what our customers need and want, and we fail to focus on building those relationships, it just won't happen. Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. We have to make it a habit to build relationships with our customers, to start moving them from transaction to relationship, move them through that funnel so that they become promoters. They become the raving fans in our business. They become those people who sell us for us so that we don't have to. I'll leave you with 4 quotes. These are 4 of my favorites. And I'm sorry about the formatting. When you download the PDF, you're going to get this. It's going to look a little bit better. It's going to be formatted properly. Something a little wonky here, but we'll live with it. Customer service is the new marketing. It's what differentiates one business from another. Jay Bear is a customer service expert. He is a professional speaker. He's absolutely right on this. You can tell a business that provides great service from one that does not, because one, you can't wait to do business with in the future, and another, you can't wait to get away from them. This is why we want to focus not on customer satisfaction, because Shep Hyken says satisfaction is a rating and loyalty is a brand. Oh, I love that one. Walt Disney said, do what you do so well that they will want to see it again and bring their friends. That's what we were talking about with Maggie and that sales funnel. Maggie turns those dogs and their people into promoters. That's what Walt Disney wanted. And then finally, Gene Bliss said, customers who love you will market for you more powerfully than you can possibly market yourself. Again, it takes the self-serving out of it, and it says to people, this company is so amazing that other people are willing to talk about it. Wow, that's powerful. If you want to share these, now you have instant access. You can download these, but if you wanted to pass these links on to friends, these are links to the slide and to the customer journey map. Share these with others. Certainly, you're not the only person as we say in my neck of the woods, you're not the only person in your neck of the woods who wants to provide a better experience for your customers and turn them into raving fans. Share this with other people. Share the concept with them. When we talk about the economy in Cherokee, we're not just talking about building a business. We're talking about building a culture of service, a culture of happiness, a culture where people want to come and enjoy the natural beauty that we have, enjoy the native culture that we have, and want to come back and bring their friends. That doesn't happen with one business. That happens when everybody focuses on building brand ambassadors. Folks, if you need me, if you want to get in touch with me, this is how we do it. I am the CEO of the Sequoia Fund, a native CDFI in Cherokee, North Carolina. If you're ever in my neck of the woods, I encourage you to look us up. Give me a call. We'll give you a personal tour. We kind of like where we live, and we'd like to show you around. I've enjoyed being with you today, and I am going to turn it back over to Wista.
Thank you so much, Russ. That was a very interesting webinar, and greatly appreciate you for coming out today and being able to teach such an amazing webinar. I went ahead and launched today's survey. Please let us know how Russ did and what you liked and what you did not like, and let me know how the Native Learning Center can make the experience better for you. We greatly appreciate everything and anything. Our next webinar is going to be April 11th. It is going to be Financial Wellness for Tenants, Credit Score, and Fraud Prevention, presented by Marie Bonville, Tribal Housing and Education Consultant. As always, registration is free, and it will be live at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 a.m. Pacific. Feel free to access this and any other recorded webinars online on our website at www.nativelearningcenter.com. We have a Cathedral Webinars tab and a recorded webinar section. You can click on any one of the webinars that we have done for the past 18 months. Please feel free to view them and share them with your friends and colleagues. Check out our upcoming events as well on our social media sites such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Snapchat. We even have a podcast titled Hopathanga. You can find that on Simplecast, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Once again, I want to thank all of our participants for joining us today, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And one more time, thank you, Russ, so much for the webinar. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Everyone have a wonderful weekend.